And welcome to the podcast. Someone who needs no introduction, the legend himself, Vinny Lecavalier. Vinny, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Thanks for joining us. Hey, I haven't seen you in a little while. Tell us what you've been up to. What's keeping you busy these days?
The kids. I got three kids. One in hockey, one in golf, and the other one in volleyball. So we're splitting up time doing tournaments every weekend, and I'm coaching my son, which is great. And then also working with the Montreal Canadiens, doing that as well. I mean, it's not a daily thing, but it definitely keeps me occupied, especially coming into the draft here in a couple months. So I'm probably gonna go to the U18 here in a couple weeks in Dallas. Just doing that.
Vinny, I really appreciate you doing this today. One of my favorite things about doing this podcast with Rosey is getting some of his former teammates on the last couple of years. What was it like to play with Jay Rosehill?
He was the best. When he texted me, I'm like, I'm doing this podcast. I mean, one of my favorite teammates, honestly. Like, we didn't play together for a lot of years, and I played with Marty and Brad Richards for so many years. But with Rosey, we had such a good time, and he's just this great guy, old school, played hard, a good teammate. I'm going to say all the compliments now, but it truly is an amazing teammate. So when I got the text from you guys, I'm like, all right, I'm doing this podcast for sure because I want to support him.
Well, that's enough of that, but I appreciate it. Well, when we were playing together in Philly there, and Craig Berube took over the helm of the Philadelphia Flyers there. He's obviously in Toronto now. What was your thoughts on playing for Craig Berube and what kind of job he's done in Toronto with these guys?
Well, I mean, he didn't play me much, so it's
me neither.
Yeah. But I think he's probably grown as a coach. Winning in St. Louis, and it's hard for me to say anything because I literally didn't play. I got scratched 40 games in a row. I went to Philly and I was supposed to play for Lavi, and he got fired after 3 games. So I was like, okay, that's great. But, I think you got to respect Chief. I mean, he's from what he's done now and he's like I said, he's won. So when I think he was a good guy. He's always up front with me. For me, it was just a situation I was in that kind of made it that maybe our relationship wasn't as good as it should have been, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to, when you're not playing. I mean, it's hard to really connect with a coach, right? So.
Well, that's a fair breakdown because I think that's the one thing I try to do, even as a media member, is humanizing the situation throughout your career. Like various coaches, can you speak to how difficult it is sometimes, or maybe how much easier it is sometimes to transition from coach to coach?
Yeah, I mean, I've had so many different coaches, and from Barry Melrose for 13 games to all different personalities, to John Tortorella for 8 years. I mean, there were some years I'm like, it was a struggle to get in the locker room because we're like, what's he going to do today, right? And if you ask me about Torts right now, I'd be like, wow, he was one of my best, one of my favorite. Well, I shouldn't say favorite. He was one of my best coaches. If you look back on it, right? Same thing with Sutter. I finished off in LA with Sutter, like hard on guys. And I think I really like looking back. I think the coaches that were, I don't want to say soft, but they kind of give you too much of a leash. I think it's human nature to take advantage of it. So I like the coaches. If I look back, I like the coaches that kind of kept the players accountable and that were tough on guys. I think in the long run, it makes you better. But there's a fine line, right? Like, you don't want to lose your confidence. You don't want to, like Torts, there's a couple of years I'm like, I didn't want the puck. I'm like, can I just dump it in, please? Because I didn't know what he was going to say after. But then there's other years where, he let me play. He would communicate better with me. And he saw me like grow as a player. So he would give me a little bit more of a leash while still having a hold on the players. But, just different personalities. But I feel you need to connect with a coach. You need to I think that the coaches should individually talk to players, and they need to know exactly what you want from the coach. I think there's some coaches that lack they don't do that. They don't talk to players. And I think that's a big mistake because guys are like, I don't know what he's expecting from me.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like that line is always sliding, like you talked. I mean, you played in the heyday where some real tough hockey, and there's the Sutters and the Keenans and the Tortorellas. And nowadays, it seems like the players have changed so much. They're so soft. I mean, just this weekend, I'm watching guys lay on the ice like it's U9, and the goals are getting scored around them, and they get up later. And it seems like that line has really shifted. Where do you think that would be this day and age with some softer players? Do you think coaches need to crack the whip a little bit more, or is it more of a coddling situation?
I think so. If you ask my team, like I'm gonna go to youth hockey. Like I can be like very firm and tough on the kids if they're. I haven't gone off the bench. Not all of our coaches. We have not gone on the ice in 7 years to help. This might sound really bad, and I hope people don't use that against me. But like, get up. You're hurting. You get hurt. Get up and get off the ice. That's the hockey culture. I grew up that way, and I want my son, my team, to be the same way. So yeah, in the NHL, yeah, I believe in you got to be firm. You got to be tough on guys. But I do understand now you got to communicate more with them because they're probably brought up more of one-on-one, maybe making them feel good a little bit. But you need to be a little bit tough on them as well. You need to keep them accountable, and they need to be, I don't want to say afraid, but they need to know that there's something will happen if they keep doing the same mistakes over and over again, right? They're either they're going to be benched or they're going to be told, or it can't just be roses all the time.
It's a healthy blend, right? I want to take you back to December 2001. You talked about your trials and tribulations with John Tortorella. It was a bit sour back then. You almost became a Leaf for a package that included Antropov, Hoagland, Cabriolet. How close is that deal actually to come into fruition?
That deal was done. Like I got a call from Kent. I remember I was like in my pregame nap, and he calls me. He's like, "All right, it's done. You're going to Toronto." So I was like, "Oh wow, okay." But it was kind of in the works the last couple of weeks, and I was like, "All right, it's gonna be a new challenge." They're telling me I'm gonna play with Matt Sundin, and I was like, "All right, it's gonna be new challenge." And next thing you know, about half an hour later, he calls me back. He's like, "No go." I guess the president heard about it, fired Rick Dudley, the GM. And he's like, you're not making a trade like that unless you talk to me. Me as in the president. So just as quick as I thought I was traded, half an hour later I wasn't. So I mean, obviously a couple years later we won a cup in Tampa, and it was awesome. And but at that time in 01, I was kind of happy. The Lightning wasn't there yet. It wasn't like the hockey market, obviously, that it is today. And I grew up watching Montreal, Toronto. I was like, wow, that's gonna be unreal. So, but yeah, didn't happen.
And looking back at that trade almost happening, like those were two drastically different markets. I don't know if you could get two teams on opposite ends of the spectrum. And we talk about it all the time doing this show, the pressure that the Maple Leafs face and the scrutiny and the media. How much different was it? I know you spent a lot of time in Tampa, but you spent time with other organizations. How much different is it playing in a market like that?
In Tampa or in Toronto or both?
Well, say Montreal and Toronto compared to at the time Florida and Tampa.
Oh my gosh. I mean, in Tampa in 2001, there's literally there's two reporters because there's two newspaper, and that's it. First game of the year, they were all pop up in there with their cameras, with all the first game of the year, that's it. And then you wouldn't see them the rest of the year. It'd be two newspaper guys, and they're your buddies. They're good guys. They want to make you look good. I still see them sometimes at games, and has nothing to do with the Montreal, Toronto, where they're, they look at every play you're making on the ice, or if you're -2 on that night, they're going to cut, like, not even close to that. So it's just a different market. But now it's obviously bigger in Tampa, but there's still not the little details that maybe the reporters are going to see on the ice in Toronto or Montreal.
And it's so amazing, the little nuances. Like we just talked about how you almost were dealt, I think, on a couple of different occasions from Tampa.
Yeah.
You stay there, you win a Stanley Cup. Obviously, I want to ask your relatability a bit to this Maple Leafs team. They've been pushing and pushing, one series, one in the last decade. But what kind of advice would you give to some of the bigger boys? Because that's been the big conversation in this market. Can they push through? And ultimately, you did push through in your career.
Listen, it's hard to win. It really is. And what I've learned from when we won was, I know everybody is on Matthews and the top guys, and your top guys have to be your best players in the playoffs. Yeah. But I guarantee you, out of the 4 rounds, Matthews isn't going to be hot for the 4 rounds, right? So there needs to be guys that step it up when he's not scoring.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.